Hello and thank you for joining us right here on Luntha Television. It's time for news and with me, Jacqueline Saidi. First, the headlines. Pope Francis renews his prayer for peace in Ukraine. SARS says the Peverin ring as HIV prevention method for women awaits government's approval. Mbeya manure gives hope for a bumper yield in Sinja South constituency. And in other news, Ghana police ban harmful New Year prophecies. We have these and more. Stay with us. Pope Francis on Monday called on Catholics to pray for those who have harmed them and those persecuted as he renewed his Christmas call for peace in Ukraine and worldwide. Speaking to the crowd gathered in St. Peter's Square after praying the Angelus on December 26th, the Pontiff said he renewed his wish for peace in families, in parishes and religious communities, peace in movements and associations, peace for those war-torn people, peace for the dear and martyred Ukraine. The Pope further prayed for Mary, Queen of Martyrs, to help us grow in charity, in love and the word, and in forgiveness. We have the Vatican News report being read by Bridget Monk.
On the feast of the martyr Saint Stephen, the Pope said the martyrs are those most similar to Jesus. He said, indeed, the word martyr means witness, as they really are witnesses who through their lives show us Jesus, who conquered evil with mercy. Pope Francis called on the faithful to pray for those persecuted martyr brothers and sisters who bear witness to Christ. He said it will do us good to ask ourselves if we bear witness to Christ and how we can improve in this for us to be helped by the figure of St. Stephen. The Pontiff noted that Stephen spoke of Jesus to those he met and was not intimidated even by the threats of his persecutors. He indicated that Stephen's greatest testimony is yet another, that he knew how to unite charity and proclamation. He said he left it to us at the point of his death when, following the example of Jesus, he forgave his killers. Playing on the connection between the Italian word for forgiveness, perdono, and the Italian word for a gift, dono, the Pope explained that forgiveness is a gift we give to others because we belong to Jesus, forgiven by him. Pope Francis then concluded with a prayer to Mary, Queen of Martyrs, to help us to grow in charity, in love of the world, and in forgiveness.
Choirs at Timoira Deanery in Lilongwe Archdiocese yesterday converged at St. Mary's Kamuzu Barracks Parish Hall for their Christmas Choir Festival. The 4 choirs in the deanery, catechists, parish chairpersons, and the chaplain of the choirs in the deanery, Father Albertus Elifara, were in attendance. As the choirs celebrated the birth of Jesus through angelic singing, Father Albertus Elifara asked them to be exemplary, to let the message of their songs change them before changing others. He further asked the choir members not to only be placards pointing to the kingdom, but real doers. He further asked the choir members to let the Christmas season change them fully. The SRHR Africa Trust SAT Country Director Robert Mangwazo said the Malawi Pharmacy Regulatory Authority approved the efficacy of the Peverin ring as HIV prevention method for women, but the delay is from the government's side. He made the revelation during a media engagement on new HIV prevention options meeting, including the Depeverin vagina ring held over the weekend in Lilongwe. Mangwazu said that the ring is of paramount importance as women can wear it without the knowledge of men who force themselves on women with a discreet and long-acting option for HIV prevention, since other countries like Zimbabwe and South Africa are utilizing the project. Mangwazu has explained more to our reporter Bridget Manuka.
The efficacy of above 50%. But where people were really advised that we have this particular tool with this product, with the medicine, you noted that when you remove all those that were not really adhering to, the efficacy went above 70%. So it's really still important because 50% is still good, offering an opportunity that will save life. 50% is very important.
Religious leaders under the banner Faith Leaders for the Promotion of COVID-19 Vaccination have attributed the slow uptake of COVID-19 vaccine to myths and misinformation about the jab. In a statement titled Malawi Faith Leaders Declaration Commitment for Promoting COVID-19 Vaccination, signed by its chairperson, Reverend Dr. Francis Mkandarire, the grouping, which operates under Evangelical Association of Malawi, says it embarked on an assessment between January to December this year to establish the major causes of low COVID-19 vaccine uptake. The development comes amid hesitancy among the general public, with over half the population unvaccinated. We have a report by Hilbert Katanda.
The assessment was undertaken through the Nzatose project, which receives funding from the Germany-based bank KWF with technical support from ACT Alliance. The statement says, among others, politically forced agendas, poor healthy system, which result in slow delivery of the jabs, and religious teachings are the major contributing factors. In an interview after presenting the findings on the sidelines of a press conference on Tuesday in Ponera, the group's chairperson, Reverend Dr. Francis Mkandarire, said misleading theories were planted into people's minds by politicians when COVID-19 was in its early stage in the country. He said the theories brought about confusion and people easily believe in any information about COVID-19 without research.
While the government of Malawi targets vaccinating 11 million of Malawi's population of 18 million as of Tuesday, November 29th, 2022, only 3,155,000 and 107 people were fully vaccinated. The following were the three major factors which were identified in our engagements with various religious leaders. Firstly, we identified really the politically focused agendas. Number two, managing the COVID-19 epidemic as a great opportunity for building personal and institutional economic status at the expense of people's lives. Also, we saw non-compliance of politicians by, in terms of complying to government-instituted COVID-19 management guidelines with political actions, activities, and statements.
The Nzatose project started in 2014 and runs in phases until August 2023. The project is in its fourth phase. Meanwhile, records from the Ministry of Health indicate that only 3,155,107 people have been fully immunized. For Luntha News in Ponera, I'm Hilbert Katanda.
The Minister of Health, Honorable Kumbize Kandolo Chibunda, has expressed sadness as the country keeps on recording high numbers of cholera cases. The Minister expressed the concern in the statement, which was released on Monday, in which she said the country has recorded 235 new cases. We have a report by King Major Kamwendo.
According to the statement, religious beliefs are one of the major challenges as some of the cholera patients are not seeking for medical help early, which results in loss of lives and also making the disease to spread rapidly. Chibonda has since appealed to the faith community to encourage communities to seek for medical help faster when they experience any signs and symptoms of cholera. The statement has revealed that a total of 13 lives have been lost on 25th of December alone, with Lilongwe dominating the list with 65 were recorded from Luntha, 1 from Mangochi and Dowa. Luntha has recorded a high number of new cases, 59, followed by Lilongwe and Salima with 40 cases each. Mangochi has registered 47, while 27 cases have been registered in Dowa. From a visit that Luntha TV and some members of different government departments, including members of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 and cholera, did last week, clearly showed that the country needs urgent help to mitigate the outbreak. Lack of sufficient staffs at cholera treatment centers is a major problem, as some centers only have one nurse to look after an ever-rising numbers of patients. Another challenge facing the fight against cholera is lack of medical supplies and equipment, as evidently seen in Deza, where there are only 4 tanks that were distributed for the whole district. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, I am King Major Kamwendo.
Remember, you're still watching news on Luntha Television. Now a reminder of the headlines.
Pope Francis renews his prayer for peace in Ukraine. SARS says the Peverin ring as HIV prevention method for women awaits government's approval. Mbeya manure gives hope for a bumper yield in Msinja South constituency. And in other news, Ghana police ban harmful New Year prophecies.
Moving forward, farmers under various youth clubs at Msinja South constituency in Lilongwe expect bumper yield this rainy season, having applied Mbeya fertilizer in their fields. One of the farmers under Malanga Youth Club in Malanga Village, Senior Chief Masura Dorothy Anderson, says that since she started using the Mbeya fertilizer, she was happy with the impact on her crops, adding that coming from readily available and renewable sources, organic fertilizers have cut her cultivation costs. She elaborated that Mbeya fertilizer is as effective as most of the chemical fertilizer, as most promising part is that they maintain the soil structure as opposed to chemical fertilizer. We have a report by Bridget Manuka.
Food insecurity is a pressing challenge among most constituents of Msinja South constituency, and the unfolding geopolitical and economic contests are worsening the situation. The challenge prevails despite the reasonable availability of arable land and labor force at household level in Msinja South. The central cause of the challenge is low farm productivity driven by degraded soils. Farmers often rely on using inorganic fertilizer as a soil fertility amendment strategy. In the wake of high prices of fertilizer, most farmers in Msinja South have now moved to Mbeya fertilizer, which is almost organic and made by mixing ashes, dung or any animal extracts urine for urea and maize bran. As Dorothy Anderson explains, due to exorbitant prices of the chemical fertilizer, she could not manage to buy the required bags but turned to Mbeya fertilizer, which its efficacy is proving to be a success. She says 150 bag of organic fertilizer produces 550 bags of Mbeya fertilizers, which is a relief to a lot of farmers.
Since I started using Mbeya, I am able to differentiate my maize from those who were reactant on the product. As you can see, my field is doing great, and I'm positive the outcome will be promising, and my family won't die of hunger next year.
Testifying the efficacy of Mbeya fertilizer, chairperson of Malanga Youth Club, Daniel Kamwiri, says they have managed to farm 3 times this year alone, thanks to Member of Parliament for the constituency, Francis Bereganyama, who has been distributing organic fertilizer for them to be using when making Mbeya fertilizer, and an initiative for the farmers to be trained to gain knowledge on how to make Mbeya fertilizer so that issues of food security should improve.
The good thing of Mbeya fertilizer is that we use locally available products like ashes, dung of any animal excretes, urine for urea and maize bran. You can see that this can easily be accessed by farmers, and as you can see here, we are really making progress. With the help from the honorable member, we are confident that hunger won't be our portion this growing season, as we have been given bags of organic fertilizers which we are using to make Mbeya.
In his remarks, Member of Parliament from Sinja South constituency, Francis Bereganyama, said his office introduced the initiative to address food insecurity, which is a challenge among his constituents. He said, under Msinja Development Fund, he managed to distribute over 300 bags of organic fertilizer to various schemes.
This financial year, what we did was to introduce what we call Msinja Development Fund. And Msinja Development Fund, it's a fund that is targeting youth and women, and basically we are going to empower for the next 4 years to empower women and youth financially.
The Mbeya fertilizer production and use project in Msinja South constituency is said to alleviate the challenges farmers and their households face with regards to farm productivity and good security. Bridget Mwanoka, for Luntha News in Lilongwe.
Human trafficking activist Maxwell Matawele on Saturday launched a book on Vice titled Together Against Human Trafficking. The launch, coupled with a music concert, took place at Bingu International Convention Center in Lilongwe. Speaking during the ceremony, Matawele, a National Project Officer on Trafficking in Persons at United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, said that the book tackles the untold stories of how humans get trafficked without their knowledge. Here's what he said.
This particular book is trying to reach out to innocent, vulnerable people who are looking for employment, very poor, who are looking for better opportunities, to educate them about human trafficking, that the traffickers are also looking for you because they know that you are people with some needs, and therefore you are easy targets to service or to supply into their businesses. So this book, when you read through, I've opened up, I've given out everything that I've learned through the 18 years I've been working with the victims of human trafficking. You have only learned about trafficking for the purpose of labor exploitation, trafficking for the purpose of sex. In the book, apart from what we have learned here today, I have also discussed, based on experiences and cases, how people will be recruited for organ removal. What really happens for people to be engaged in organs? I've given out names. I didn't hide anything in the book. I've also disclosed why are people recruited as drug carriers. So in the book, you learn everything that happens in a case involving a young Malawian that has been used as a carrier of drugs.
In other news, as millions of Christians often gather in churches to hear the pastors make proclamation about New Year, Ghanaian police have warned faith leaders against making traditional New Year prophecies which can cause fear, anxiety, or death. This comes as Ghana has adopted 27 December as the Day of Prophecy Communication Compliance Day. Hence, the public should not be induced by predictions of death and calamities. They further added that the day is being set aside to remind all to practice their faith within the confines of the law to ensure a safe, secure environment free of anxiety generated from predictions of impending harm, danger, or death. Well, with that, we conclude the news. Now the headlines before we go.
Pope Francis renews his prayer for peace in Ukraine. SARS says the Peverine ring as HIV prevention method for women awaits government's approval. Mbeya manure gives hope for a bumper yield in Nsinja South constituency. And in other news, Ghana police ban harmful New Year prophecies.
My name is Jacqueline Saidi. Now keep watching as King Major Commando brings you the segment of